Welcome to Open Studio on Brattleboro Community Television. My name is Chris Lenois, and joining me today is Donna Hawes, Tim Mathiesen, and Lydia Thomson, all of them from the River Gallery School here in Brattleboro. Good morning to you all.
Good morning, Chris.
Appreciate you coming on, and here for a very special occasion, River Gallery School turns the big 4-0.
That's right.
Very exciting stuff, and you're having a party for this on Saturday, September the 17th at 6 p.m. This is up at the S.I.T. World Learning Campus. You can get more information about it at the rivergalleryschool.org website. Now, it's 40th birthday bash and silent auction. You've done silent auctions in the past, but that's usually been a spring event, so you're moving this as part of the birthday festivities.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about how much bigger this is going to be than your average silent auction event that the River Gallery holds.
Well, it's going to be bigger because we're celebrating our 40th, so we're actually focusing on more of a party environment. We've got the Butterfly Swing Band that's going to be livening things up, and we're going to be playing, they'll play throughout the whole event. And then we're going to feature some pop-up auction items that will be, I don't know if you ever heard of pop-up, but it's this buzzword now that we're hanging our hats on and thinking.
I certainly have, but maybe a few viewers out there.
Well, it's basically where we've got about 10 items that are trips and dinners and that sort of thing. We can go into that later, but basically it's going to be popping up throughout the evening. We have Stuart McDermott as our auctioneer, and he will be walking around and queuing in some, going into some particular item, and everybody's focus will be on him at that time. The band will stop playing. There'll be some kind of a music to set the tone for the pop-up auction item. So we'll do those items one at a time.
Okay, so you're going to take clusters of items and kind of have them all. Is there some sort of theme for each one?
Well, they're trips and dinners, experiences would be the theme. Yeah. Right
on. And people can find out what these are now?
Yes, they can. They can go online to find them out, as well as we've printed this this booklet that has a commemorative component to it. We're honoring Barb Kampmann, a co-founder of the school. And so the introduction to the booklet has a page on Barb Kampmann. And you can pick these up around town. They're going to be at the different stores. But inside it, we have some pop-up auction items that will be on auction. So such as a trip to Italy and a wonderful safari, those two exciting events that are experiences that we've been featuring for several years now. We also are featuring a Mexican dinner night at Betsy Gentile and Bill Pinneman's house.
Oh, nice.
So just there's a lot of fun things happening. We have a Florida beach getaway. We have a Key West trip, a language course at S.I.T.
Yeah. Well, it's always fun to find in the booklets or online to kind of plan your strategy, right?
Exactly.
In terms of how things are going to go, and gee, when am I going to bid on this, or how much am I going to bid on that, and kind of assess things, because your previous auction events have been pretty well attended, so this one being a special one, 40th anniversary, people should probably be getting their tickets pretty well in advance.
We hope so.
Yeah.
Time to buy your tickets.
Okay, so we've got auction items, we've got music. What else makes a party? Food?
Yeah.
So S.I.T., this is the first time we've had it up at S.I.T., and they have a wonderful food thing going on there. So there'll be like I forget what they call the stations, but they cook it right there for you. We'll have a bar, but there'll also be, I think it's an Asian station where you can order some noodles and stuff. And then we'll have birthday cakes donated by local bakeries and bakers, and those will be auctioned off. And we'll have a lot of cupcakes.
I love the sound of cakes, plural,
yes.
right? I mean,
it's a beautiful
one for each year the River Gallery has been in.
Oh, that would be
existence.
That would be
40
good.
cakes, right? Yeah, that would be a lot of cake.
Yeah,
but you got to have.
We can
cake.
certainly have 40 slices.
Yeah, and a lot of candles too, right?
True.
For 40 years.
Plus, we want to encourage people to bring their dancing shoes. With the Butterfly Swing Band playing throughout the evening, there'll be plenty of opportunities to cut a rug, to let loose a little bit, and celebrate like there's no tomorrow.
Yes.
Well, we did mention that it's on the S.I.T. World Learning Campus, but which hall is it in? Is it all going to be taking place in one space?
In the dining hall.
Okay.
And that has that big wraparound patio, and it has the beautiful long view over to the mountains in the east. It's beautiful, big high ceilings and a balcony.
And we're going to decorate it as a true birthday party. We'll have presents, we'll have balloons. It'll be fun to just come and take it all in, as well as that beautiful long view down the valley.
Right. Well, I expect very good decorations from an art school. Right? That would be something. You've got students working on this now?
Well, Kim Colligan is, there's two chairs, Kim Colligan and Betsy Gentili, and Kim is doing decorations. So she has some, we won't say everything, but she has some nice ideas of how to make the space beautiful.
Right.
So, yep, we're working on that.
Tim, you're a volunteer for the River Gallery. Is this an event where you could still use some help? We're still a little ways out, depending on when people watch this, but right now when we're filming this, we're a little ways out. Could more people step in and help volunteer?
Certainly for the day of when we're setting up, doing decorations, getting the band in place, working out where electricity is needed, things like that. To get those decorations in place on the day of, we can always use a little extra help. So thanks for mentioning that. I definitely want to appeal to everybody, and they can call the school, and we'll take their information and get them on the list. That would be great to have a couple of extra hands, people who want to be there. That's terrific.
Yeah, well, two things that come with any organization's fundraiser around here: volunteers and sponsors.
That's right.
So if there's any sponsors you want to acknowledge, there's your opening for that too.
Yeah, well, we certainly do have a lot of sponsors for sure. This year, because this booklet that CNS printed for us as a free sort of thing, that's been wonderful to have. We use this opportunity to mention we created this booklet with a condensed timeline beginning in 1976 when the school was founded by Barb and Rick Kampmann. And so in the inside, as you can pick these up at the different stores around town, you'll take a minute and read through the first few pages of the book, and you can get an understanding of the school. And then further in, we mentioned our sponsors. So CNS printed this, and we have Brattleboro Savings and Loan, who has been sponsoring us. I have there's a lot of ads in the back, and these people purchased space in this booklet as sponsors for the event.
Yeah, well, people at this point really understand we're an arts community, and the role River Gallery has played. Now, Lydia, I know you're the artistic director there. I don't think we're there at the beginning with the
No,
Kampmanns.
I wasn't. No. I came about 25 or 27 maybe years ago. My daughter, I had seen some of the artwork around town in people's houses, children's artwork, and I wanted to sign my daughter up when she was about 6 or 7. So we were at 127 Main Street, so I walked up the stairs there, and I had been an art student and had not been making art, but I signed her up and smelled it, talked to Rick, and that was it. I've never left since then. It started 40 years ago out at the Ingenuity shops with Rick and Barbara and kids classes, and then it's grown to, well, this card over here, that's our fall semester. We have all the ages from tots up to senior citizens and outreach programs. So we've grown enormously over the last 40 years.
Hold that up for the camera for a minute. People, I'm sure, will be able to find these cards at the 40th birthday bash, because the classes actually start on Monday, the following Monday. Are you going to be recovered from the party enough to teach a class?
That's a really good question.
One that you don't have to answer. Before we get into the fall semester, though, I want to keep exploring the history, because I didn't realize you said 127 Main. Now they're at 32 Main.
That's right.
Right now.
10 years ago. Remember the fire down at the Wilder building?
Yeah.
So after the fire, the land trust took that building over and renovated it. It's beautifully, very historically correct. And they approached us about taking the entire second floor for our studios. And we had more or less outgrown some of the spaces at 127, and we also wanted to become handicapped accessible. And they had an elevator. So at that time, Rick, who was one of our co-founders, was very ill. He died that year. And we went through a long process of whether we should move because we loved where we were at 127. But we decided to move down, and it's been great.
Right.
And just a year ago, this month, we, for the first time, got ground floor space.
Right.
We've always been a second floor establishment at Ingenuity and at 127, and for years here at 32 Main. And so we got this beautiful storefront space that we've made into what we call Main Street Studio and Gallery 34. So it's been an expansion and kind of just opening up to the public more.
Yeah. Well, you've grown not only in number of students, but also in the breadth of your offerings.
Yes.
Wondering if you can talk a little about the Kampmann's core philosophy, though. I mean, that's something that I'm sure that they tried to instill in you when you first joined.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing that was the most attractive to me. I had been to art school, and as soon as I walked up, I sort of got it in talking to Rick the first time. It's not an anti-establishment place, but it is different from a traditional art school in that we don't start with technique. It's not like first you learn to draw by doing this for a few years and then you go through, which is how I went through school. It's much more about going straight for the core of creativity that's in each of us and recognizing that and honoring it. And they have developed a way of one-on-one instruction that opens people up. So it's non-competitive, it's supportive, and it honors every single different person's way of going. So what we do is we start with getting people over the hump of trepidation, say,
right,
or self-doubt, or fear, like, oh, I don't know what to do, or my mother was an artist. We had someone today said I couldn't do it. My mother was an artist. You know, we encounter almost every reason why somebody would not exercise their creativity.
That makes a lot of sense. People that I've known who have done classes at the River Gallery School don't necessarily stay in one medium.
Right.
They kind of jump from medium to medium, and that makes sense from what you're saying. It's not almost, tapping into that inner creativity versus what the output is.
Well, a big difference is that we supply the materials. Often when you sign up to take a workshop or a class, you have to go to the art store or go online and purchase expensive materials, and then you go and maybe you like it or maybe you don't. But one of Rick and Barbara's initial ideas was if we supply everything, and there's this feeling of abundance. You can come, you can try it, you can switch. So there's a lot more experimentation going on. And in that experimentation is a kind of freedom about, you don't feel like, oh, I don't want to waste that, I don't want to use that up. I paid $4 for that and I don't want to waste it, Probably now more like $20.
Right.
And you're invited to come and participate, experience it for yourself.
That's part of the great thing about it is it's something that's available to all ages, all abilities, even completely inept artists like myself, which is a good thing. I thought it was interesting looking at the site in preparation for this interview. I don't think I realized the outreach level you do too. You have special programs for seniors, you have this ability arts program. Do those happen at the River Gallery School, or are those more outreach efforts?
Ability Arts happens at River Gallery School. The seniors program happens at the Gibson Aiken Center. We also do Gathering Place and Pine Heights, and in the past we did the Thompson House and then Holton Home. Marilyn Allen, who is involved with the outreach program, she's the artist that goes into these organizations and sets up projects and painting with everyone. It's really wonderful. It's nice.
It all just speaks to me of the idea here in Brattleboro about how we are an arts community, with an emphasis on both those words equally, right? Art and community, right? Because you are bringing everybody into it. When you think about the River Gallery School, not necessarily to quantify this, but ways you've seen the River Gallery School impact the arts community here in Brattleboro?
Okay, go.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
And important,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I think we've been involved with people's lives and families for so many years. There's something, now we have actually children of the people who came here as children, and grandparents bring their grandchildren who brought their children before. We're just part of the fabric of how the arts go in Brattleboro. I think we have a way, and we have an open door sort of policy where people, the scholarship policy is if somebody wants to come, then we make it happen. We try to be as inclusive as possible. And in terms of collaboration, Donna is on a committee with a lot of other nonprofit organizations.
Brattleboro Area Development Committee, yeah.
But we've collaborated with the museum and with S.I.T and various other, like hospice, we've done work with them. We've done outreach to hospitals and the AIDS Project and all sorts of things. So we're always open to whatever can connect us up with more people. And with the new ground floor space, Main Street Studios, we're just hoping to, do more and more programming that's bring the family in.
It is so nice to have a higher visibility
Sure.
by being on the ground level.
Yeah.
As people drive by, as people walk by, as they see the birthday cards around the town, it's so nice to have a recognizable face that is easily accessible.
Yeah, well, and you brought up that open door, Lydia, and certainly that's all the more reason why people should go to the
Yes.
40th birthday bash and support this and support the option.
Yes, it all benefits the
Right.
scholarship program that we,
Yeah.
so it is a benefit.
Yeah. All the fundraising.
As well as a bash.
And so it-
Early and bid often.
Right.
And it does cost $25 to get in.
Right.
And you can purchase tickets online. You can call as well and get it at the office as well.
Yeah. Okay, so I asked your impact on the Brattleboro arts scene. Now, the inverse of that, how do you think this Brattleboro arts scene, this vibrant arts community we've had, has impacted the River Gallery School?
Well, it's provided an opportunity for more people to come to us, to come through the doors. And there's a lot of people visiting, and also, as a result, moving to the area, I believe, because of the arts status. So it just, on a weekly basis, I find myself meeting people, new people coming to the area. So that's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do either of you want to weigh in on that question?
I was just going to say, yesterday and the day before, this young man comes, Seth,
Yes.
who's doing a walking tour of the United States. He wants to hit every state. He has a backpack and a beard, and it says something like looking for volunteer opportunities. So he's been up the East Coast a little bit, and he met another person, Jennifer, who's been volunteering. He came by and just worked with us, and then he did some sequence painting before he took off for Mount Greylock. But it's just people come in the door.
Right.
Yeah, we have a little sandwich board. We don't have huge signage, but they find it more. They find the nexus of the arts that we feel like we provide, and
Yeah.
come.
You just brought up sequence painting. That's one of the courses you're offering starting the 19th. Is that a new course, or is that something that you've been offering for a while?
Yes, it's something that Rick Kampmann, when he died 10 years ago, and about 7 years before that, he contracted multiple myeloma cancer, and he had a stem cell transplant. And at that time, he felt like he received a gift of synthesis about his teaching and his life, and that was a way to help people with their creativity. And that's what has developed into what we call sequencing. And it just came as an idea to him, and we've been using it those 17 years with hundreds and hundreds of people. So in the adult studio classes that start the day after the party, we use that a lot, and I have a sequencing workshop on October 9th. So we do them 3 or 4 times a year.
Right.
probably.
There's workshops as well as classes.
Yes.
People can see that if they go to the website.
Right, and then we just do it, like with Seth, it was just like, it just seemed like, well, here's this thing. So it's something we can share, and it goes out. I have a teacher training for sequencing coming up next weekend. Once a year, people from different parts of the country come and do a 4-day training so they can go back to their areas and teach sequencing. So I have Philadelphia and Maine, and I forget where else this year, but people come in and then...
Do you know how many teachers you have taught?
It's not a huge
guess?
amount.
No?
I've only done it maybe 4 or 5 years, but, you know, under 50 probably.
But that means there are 50 new arts organizations
Right.
teaching this sequencing technique
Yeah, good
that
point.
that Rick
Yes.
started.
Yes.
What a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it is.
Russ Smart is going
Right.
to be offering a workshop or class in building small houses. He's a sculptor.
Right.
And I don't know if
So that goes throughout the fall. That's not just the festival.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's called Spirit Houses, and
Okay.
using found objects and scrap wood to build these
Wonderful
little sculptural houses. I mean, the basis of what we do are the children, teen, and adult studios. And from the beginning, it's been child studio and teen studio, and then the adults. And from there, if you look on the back of that, you can see we do a lot of printmaking. The new space, we have a press downstairs, and it's a printmaking studio. So we have, I think, 3 new teachers coming in this year for new printmaking opportunities, and
Is that one of the
watercolor.
bigger kind of growth? Like, do you see? I mean, I'm sure this is cyclical in some ways, but it
Yeah.
seems to me that printmaking is something a lot of people are taking an interest in of late.
Yeah.
I think so too, which I find
Yeah.
fascinating. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but the Brattleboro printmakers are in town as well. They do silk screening. So
Adding printmaking, you were about to talk about the watercolor class too.
Yes, Tim's sister Lynn Hoft started a wonderful watercolor program with us, and then she moved to the Vineyard.
Thanks, Lynn.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you, Lynn. And one of her students, Lynn Zimmerman, has taken it over, and she's also wonderful. So she's doing that, and she's also doing some bookmaking with. So that will be down in the Main Street studio. The Ability Arts program that Donna spoke about for young. Well, they're not all young people. They're people who have graduated from high school who have different abilities. There's some people who are deaf or have Down syndrome or any number of issues, and they meet now. They'll be meeting twice a week in Main Street Studios doing art projects. So it's a wonderful creative outlet. They also do some marketing of the products that they make. So that's a great program.
Terrific. So
Yeah.
rivergalleryschool.org, people can see the full
Yeah.
program. There's also these cards that'll be available at the auction. There's also the programs themselves that are around town. Tim, I wanted to ask you, as a volunteer, I mean, there's so many organizations in this community that are worthy of people's time.
That's for sure.
And so I'm always interested in hearing, I mean, and there's more than we can all devote our time to, but you know, it's always interesting to me to hear where people choose to dedicate their emotion, their blood, their sweat, you know, that equity into an organization. For you, it was River Gallery School. Why?
Partly it's the terrific energy of the directors, of the teachers. The second reason is because of my sister, Lynn, who was a watercolor artist, still is a watercolor artist, but has moved away from the community. But her involvement as a teacher also, to me, was this is a great place to put my energy as well, to support her efforts and to support the efforts of the school as a whole. And it's also important to, I think, to volunteer to things that are going to be fun. And whether it's the 40th year or I think I started 5 years ago, so there was no celebration per se 5 years ago, but it was, how do I get involved in an organization that's going to do good and have fun at the same time? And that's why I picked the River Gallery School.
Yeah, well, very
Thank
well
you.
said, and does a lot of great things for a lot of people in
You
this
bet.
community, both in a community sense and an individual sense. 40 more years, what do you say?
Easily.
After that, right?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Big growth on the horizon, but it all comes down to these fundraisers. September 17th, 6 to 9 p.m. at the World Learning S.I.T. campus. You can get your tickets now at rivergalleryschool.org, as well as go into the location and purchase tickets in advance at 32 Main Street, Brattleboro. Really nice to talk with you all about
Nice
this
to
day.
talk
Thanks for
to
being
you.
on the show.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
All right.
Chris.
And thank you for tuning in to Open Studio on Brattleboro Community Television. We want to remind you that this episode airs on channels 8 and 10, as well as on demand at BrattleboroTV.org. Go there to check listing times. Thank you.